my name's Ralph and welcome back to the channel. It's my time, let's go. Today we're going to get the S&S Oil Pump installed on Gus's motor, and we're going to hopefully get the cases all together and make a huge step forward on getting this engine ready. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please do, and share us with others and let others know that we're out there. We appreciate all your help and your support as we move along. So today, let's get to it. So now we're going to put our S&S Oil Pump on. We've got a brand new oil pump because the other one had a big crack out of the seat inside, so we had to replace it for sure. And now we've got our parts all arranged so that we know which way we're going with it and how to proceed. The S&S instruction sheet comes with a lot of great instructions, including this page on how to identify what sort of case you have, depending on where your oil holes are in the case itself. So very informative. Also some great drawings on the oil pump bodies themselves, pictures. So you can see these are from 70 to 91, 92 to 99, 91 and earlier. It gives you a good idea of what the pump should look like, so you can identify that before installation. Once again, it comes with a great instruction sheet, and I suggest that you read it through and have a look, because there is some small discrepancies that you should keep track of. But it's a very informative piece with virtually all the information, all sorts of case modifications and such that may have to be done on earlier type cases and such, and how to do the drilling aspects of it. So it covers all the bases in there. So be sure to check that out. Now, the S&S Oil Pump comes with two different types of screws, and one is appearingly like a sort of fine thread, and then the other one is a coarse thread. The early fine thread ones are for the early motors, pre-78, 78 and before that. The other ones are for later motors. Even though these fine thread ones will start in there, you got to be very careful that you don't put them in there, and because you'll strip the threads out of these cases. So we have our S&S oil pump ready to go. A small point with the S&S, but an important one, is that the small gears, and I don't think you can really see it, but they have little punch marks on them. And S&S wants those lined up on both sides, because that's the way the gears are made to mesh in there. So we'd be careful to keep it that way. We're going to put some engine lube on the shaft here and in the shaft hole. Now, S&S recommends that their gaskets are put on dry, so we're going to do that. They don't suggest any sealer at all because of the type of gasket that it is. So I generally put a bolt through the top and line it up, and one down through here at the bottom. This will not only help keep our gasket on, but it will help align it as we try to put it on there and get things in. So we're just gonna slide this into the case while holding that in place. There we go. I'm just gonna finger tight that one there. And that will help keep our gasket in place until we put the outer cover on. So we'll slide the other one in here. Just snug these up lightly by hand. Before we do, just slide it back out a little bit, as we have to get our gear inside. What I'll do here is I'm just going to put one of the long ones in. Again, just to help keep that gasket in place where it's supposed to be, so we can slide the pump out. You're gonna watch we don't push our gears out. There we go. That should give me enough room to put this little gear in there. I put a key in it. Put our gear in place inside. Now, the trick is to get our little key down inside in place. I'm just rotating it around so the keyway comes up and I can see the keyway at the top. Once I see the keyway, I can turn the gear around and then very carefully take this little tiny key, slide it right in the groove on the shaft through the gear itself, and shove it in there and keep it in place. And then we're going to take our little snap ring pliers and our little clip here and put that on inside, which can be a trick sometimes. Just got to try and get that little clip in there. Okay, as you can see here from our S&S instruction sheet, this is how they tell you to make sure that your clip is on the end here, because there's a small key that fits inside that, and they won't want a chance of that key sliding out. So we got to make sure that that clip is installed on the drive gear. Now you can move the body slightly. And we have to make sure that the gears turn easily. We're going to put the top pieces on our pump first, deciding which ones we're going to use. And we're going to plug this one, because this one here is a chain oiler, and this will be our feed and this will be our return. The time to get them on there is now, with the pump body off. We're going to use some thread sealer. I like using this thread sealer. Sometimes it's a little messy, but it seals things up. We need our small little plug for the top. Now we have all our little pieces there, and you do have to check in this area here in case there's the pump will hit it or anything like that. On some models it will, and we've looked there and we've got lots of clearance there. That'll keep this in place and lined up here, and then we can making sure our washers are out. You can slide the cover on there. And we're not going to tighten these up, we're just going to bring them up close, because we still want to be able to move the oil pump. Very important that we move it around so we have no binding whatsoever, because really it doesn't take much to shear a key in there. And if you don't make sure that your oil pump is running nice and free, then it's quite easy to do actually. I'm just snugging these up so everything seats down in there. Alright, then I'm just going to back them off, just enough so I can move the oil pump. Okay, and this will free it up. And we need to make sure that this gear inside, that I can easily turn this gear as you tighten it up. So when you go to tighten it up, in a crisscross pattern. We keep turning the gear to make sure that there's no binding. Just keep turning the gear as we snug these up. Continue to do it just in your crisscross pattern, nice and easy. There's only 90 pounds on these, so it's not a lot. And I can still turn my gear very freely in there. Okay, we're getting close there. We're going to get our torque wrench, 90 to 120 inch-pounds. So now continue with our crisscross pattern. We're going to take it up to, I have it set at 110 pounds. Start down here. And if I'm not close, I'm still going to continue to crisscross it lightly. There we go. Yeah, we're nice. That one's in. That one's in. Okay. 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 So you can see that this gear turns very freely now, and that's the main thing when you're tightening your oil pump up. This has to be free, and you should be able to move it just easily with your fingers. Not a problem whatsoever. If you can't do that, when you assemble your motor, it will shear the keys off and won't pump any more oil. So something to be very careful about. So we just need to put an insert in there. And once we get the motor ready to run, then we'll prime it by taking the caps off and stuff. But we'll get to that when it's on the motor stand. There we go. And now our pump's on, and I'm confident that everything's the way it should be, and she's nice and loose. Okay, so that's got that on. I gotta get a bearing for in here, and then we gotta put a couple gears on our pinion shaft, and we can slide it into place. Well, actually we can slide this in, then we can add our gears. So I'll get the bearing and we'll put that in. So all we got left to do now is to put our cam bearing in there. Give it a little bit of oil. And anytime that you tap on the cam bearing, there's a very round side of it, and then there's a very flat side of it with the numbers. And the number side is the side that you can put pressure on or tap on. Never the other way around. These go in very easy. Just take your time, get it in there straight. Make sure that we're down to depth. And when you're putting these in, we need to make sure, as you can see, there's a little slot here in this area, and this bearing has to be down below that slot so that the oil can run down to the bearing here. When we took this apart, it was out flush with the outer edge, which meant that the bearing wasn't getting oiled. But now it's in there right and proper. Okay, those are on, those are on. We need to put 2 plugs in the bottom of the oil pump because we're not going to use those. We're using our feed up here for it. So I'll just get 2 more plugs, and we're just going to put them in these bottom holes here because we're not using them. Just need to tighten them up. Don't reef on them. Fine thread, but they're like a tapered thread, so they'll tighten up as they go in. Now, it's going to be time to slide it onto our other engine half and get that in place. So we'll be working away at that. So today we're going to use this case sealer, which is this 3-bond 1184, and it works very well for sealing the cases. So we're going to put a light coat around the cases, and then we'll let it set up. They say it only takes a minute or two. Get an old rag. Get my fingers off here if it's lumpy. We'll just take our time and get a nice even coat on this. We'll just put a very light smear on here. So we've got our major coat on that. Being the cheapskate that I am, and Loctites are very expensive up here, so we always bust the cap off it because, you know, there's lots still inside and they want you to throw it away, and we're not doing that. So I'll just put a light coat on all my bolts. Okay, looks like we're tacking up. Yeah. All right. Now, we'll just slide this on. There. Just our two upper and lower alignment bolts here, so to speak. This is the short one here. Shorter.
I'm a rolling stone, bound to roam. Come the morning, or I'll be gone. Pouring rain, wanna hear that train. There she comes, won't you get on, won't you get on board?
So now we're just going to go along in a crisscross pattern. Start with this one up here. About 16 pounds. This is 15 to 19, so we'll no doubt pull them a little more.
Watch the trees, falling leaves, like the breeze, won't you blow? Take a sip, I'ma pack my grip, one more trip.
Just go around and check them. 15. I know this one is 15. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now we got them all torqued down to 15 to 18 pounds in there, and that should be good. So we're just gonna let that set up for now. And it is nice, nice, nice. So now we can go along and do some of the other things and start putting some of the other pieces in. Our gears to go inside for our oil pump drive gears, things like that. I'm going to prime the oil pump, put some oil down in it. And we put the alternator on here. A lot of small things that we can work away at now and get put together. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so the first thing we got to do now is put our little keys in there. We'll roll it around so we can get it up to a spot where we can see them. There we are. And then we have to put our little drive gear on. This drive gear has a chamfered side and a flat side, and the chamfered side goes in towards the flywheels, always in towards the flywheels. If you put it on backwards, you can cause problems with this gear, and it may chew it up and cause you a world of grief. So we've got our key in there, so very carefully, there we are. Then we have our little spacer. Put another key in here. And finally, we'll put our little pinion drive gear here. Always got to make sure that everything's moving in there. It's got to be a lot of free play in there. So now we got our pinion gear nut on there, and we're ready to tighten it up, this little nut, and they say no Loctite on that, and it's left-hand thread. And what we're going to do is hook up our small little Jim's tool here. And this tool just goes on here. Like that. And this neck goes 35 to 45 pounds. Okay. We're almost there. There we are. 45 pounds. There we go. And while that's in there, we make sure that this gear can slide around. There has to be play in these gears here. They shouldn't be tight at all in order to run freely on the oil pump. Those are in there, locked in. Nice. Okay. So the next thing we got to do is put our Jim's oversized breather gear in. And we have to figure out what kind of shims we need for the outside of it. So we've got a bag of shims here. All different types of ones. And we've sort of dug through them. What we have to do is put our gasket on. So. And then we'll take our little shim gear here, make sure we're in the right place, and we'll put it there. We're going to take our flat edge and put it right across, push in on it fairly snugly, and then we'll take a measurement down here. I could just get a 12 thou in there, which is one of the closest to what we want there. The other ones are too tight. You have to allow for 6/1000 of an inch clearance when you put the cover on and crush that gasket out. So we've got 12, so if we subtract 6 off that, that'll give us 6 thou in play and keep our gear right where we want to use it. So this is the proper one that we want to use for that. Okay, now we'll get on to checking our cam spacing next, I guess, is about the next thing. All right, so I'll grab the cam and we'll have a look at that. So now we're going to try and fit our cam in. We're going to put our cam in and see what our spacing could be right here. So we need the cam. We've put a little spacer on the end of it to get a starting point as to where we want to be. And we need our rear plate, this little piece here, and it will go right in there like that. Take this off, I don't need it at the moment. Set our cam in. Okay. Make sure our gasket is in place. In there. We're stuck on the gasket there a little bit. That So now it seems like we've run into a bit of a problem with the nose cone cover, and it certainly doesn't want to fit on there tight. Not at all. I've run into this discrepancy with different covers before that don't want to fit right, and this one certainly doesn't want to. I know when I took the motor apart, I had a hard time getting the cover even off of it, so it was jammed in on there. So I'm going to order a new cover to put on it, and we'll see where we go from there. I do have one of my own that I know is a good cover, and I've tried that on there and it fits perfect. So I know that there's a problem with the cover. So we'll be getting at that in our next video and moving along with it. So I'm kind of at a stuck point there today, so we'll be following up in our next video and letting you know what happened when we got a new cover, and I tell you, it's never dull. So follow us along while we get the Pitch Black Evo motor off my stand and get Gus's motor over on the stand and ready to work with it. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy it. Be sure to support the other channels that grow along with us. We've all been kind of the four of us helping each other out. And Hippie laughingly commented that we're the four horsemen. It was a Hippie's Chopper Corner, Slickhead's Custom Cycle, me here at It's My Time Let's Go, and Gus at this old chopper. So be sure to check out the four of us, and we keep talking back and forth, and we have a great time with each other. And I hope you have a great time with our videos too, and they're all related sort of together. So be sure and support all these guys. Today I'm going to get started on taking this motor off of here and getting Gus's motor on here and getting started at that. So I'm getting pretty excited, and it's the first chance I've had to get my lift out and my SST racer sling and everything and pick the motor up with it and use it. So I'm a little bit excited about that. Also, look what I got. Hippie's Chopper Corner, HCC. Thank you very much, Hippie. Appreciate it very much here. So be sure to check out Hippie's Chopper Corner down there down in the south. So today we're going to get along and get at it. I'm going to get a few tools out and we're going to get some things ready. And then we'll start getting this motor off of here and get my sling on it and seeing how it goes. So we'll start getting the easy things off first here. Plug wires. Fuel system off. Okay. I'll put these 5/16 ones back on. The other one pulled the spigot right out. It was something that was just pressed in there, I guess. But just as well if it's like that, that it's out of there now. Before we go any farther. Get a little bit of my white goop on there. And I want to get it all over that pump body. It's wrinkled black. You'll never get this stuff out of wrinkled black. That means this pump is going to have to be primed again. It's always something, no matter what you think you're doing right, there's always something going to break on you. Okay, now off the bottom and get that fitting out of the bottom. I think I'm going to have to put the oil lines on this. So we'll start by getting the small fitting out of here. This is just one we had to hook up to our oil line system. And we've got the proper type here. I've got it. And I've got the sealer on it already. There we go, that's 11/16 in there. Okay, it looks like I'm gonna have to thread it into the oil filter first. Okay. So we're gonna try and get our oil filter lines on here, and I've just sort of installed them lightly in here. These fittings are in there lightly. Let's see if we can kind of get close to being in place here. This one, of course, goes up behind, but this one goes into that one. Here we go. What are we looking here? Just get those started lightly. Leave that really loose. See if we can get this stuff up into place. I get just enough room on that stand. I think that one should be going down there. Actually, just on the back of that. Missing the clamp. There's a little clamp that usually goes here, but we don't have it. See if I can source one out. And I think we'll just snug them up for the time being. Trouble is that once you place this front one, you're pretty well screwed. You can't get at it. If I loosen that, I'm not going to get it out of the way. That's the problem. You'd think that it would help you, but it doesn't. There we go. But getting it back in is going to be the trick. The clamps really got to hold it against the back, so I'll have to source out a clamp somewhere. Try to get this back up in there. I don't want to It don't want to let us. There we are. Okay. Okay. Now we'll loosen up the top mount. The top motor mount loosened up. Need to undo the back nut in here now and get this off. And I put my lock in there. So I guess now we'll try to get our stand out here, our harness. Something always in the way. Right. There we go. Okay. So, if we gotta hook this in the rear. Well, I think we've got it pretty well ready to go now. This is always a scary part, but I think I got it hooked up right. And we're going to just try to lightly lift it out, and then I'm going to try to bring it down here so I can put a stand underneath. So I kind of get it to this area, get it out, and then get it on the stand. So first we'll give her a lift here and see. There. Okay. Let's just pull her out. There we go. Come on. Come on, Rita. There we go. Now, let her down a little bit. She'll go. That's as far as I'm going to get it. There we go. All right. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it for the moment. That's the thing. But I think if I get a couple boards, I'll be able to set it on that milk crate. And then if somebody comes in, we can grab a hold of it easily and move it out to where I want to put it. But for today, I just wanted to get it off the stand, and then we'll work on putting gusses up there. So there she is. No muss, no fuss. There we go. Now we got Gus's motor on there ready to go, so it's a lot nicer to work on it now when it's all bolted down there and everything's solid, and then I can put the cylinders on and do all that sort of stuff. So it's a big job out of the way today. Very cool. The metal harness did its job. When you're here by yourself on a Sunday, you gotta make do with what you can, make work. And this old parachute harness, not only did I have fun with it jumping, I'm still having fun with it. All right, we'll just tidy up and bolt this thing down and move on from there. There we go. Well, I'm glad to get that done today, even though it's my day off. It's Sunday, and I guess Sundays I still work. I can never stop working, it seems. If I'm not doing this, I'm editing video. I'm always on the go. So it's hard to find time for some of my own projects, but you know, once we get Gus underway and stuff, I'm hoping to more get at some of my own things that I've wanted to do. But we'll see how time allows for us. Right now, I'm glad I got that Black Evo motor off and got it ready to go somewhere. And now I got Gus here, and we can move ahead with that. All right. So if you enjoyed this video today, like, subscribe, ring the bell, share us out there with others, let others know that we're out there. Every little bit helps, and we're growing, and we want to continue to grow, and we can't do it without your help. And please support all the other ones that are out there as well. See you in the next video.